So welcome to my second video detailing my sub 2:30 training and attempt at London Marathon 2021. We've got a 10k, we've got a 5,000 metres and a holiday and a bit of a dip in between. Okay, so welcome to my second video going through London Marathon training. So in the thumbnail that you'll have seen, you'll notice I've got a book in the picture. I'll explain why in a very short period of time, but yeah, basically like before, I'm going to talk through how the next few weeks have been, or last few weeks have been. It's been 3 more weeks, and through those weeks, what have I done in each week? So what have the training sessions been? What have been the major events? So there's been a holiday, there's been a couple of races that bookend it all. How's that all been? And as a whole, how is it going? Because we're now deep in and it's starting to grind. So that's kind of it. So again, as you'll see, I'll kind of throw up mileage, I'll throw up all the major sessions, so we'll put them on the screen so you can kind of get a sense of, well, if you want to look at the paces, by all means pause it, you'll see that. So why did I have the book? It's what I've really noticed is this is a fantastic book. So Sir Brendan Foster now kind of originated the Great North Run, former world record holder, Olympian, medalist, etc. You know, well known for his commentary on the BBC, and he wrote this book kind of towards the latter end of his career, but still kind of in his peak. And there's 2 passages in it which I think really kind of speak to me, and I think really do apply. So I've kind of highlighted them here. Here's the first one. It's training, recovery all the time, and you spend every day either tired or recovering from being tired. Yep, that kind of sums it up. And if you look at the last video, so watching it through, you have to watch the videos through that you make to do all the kind of chapter headings, so you'll see the chapters along the bottom, you know, week 4, 5 and 6, etc. So you have that, and I did notice as I'm watching it through, the word tired just appears again and again and again and again and again. It's like, okay, why is that? Well, Brendan Foster captures it, he says it perfectly. What is it like to be a distance runner? My definition is someone who starts the morning tired and ends the day even more tired. So I'm probably going to use that word quite a lot over the next few weeks as well. I'm certainly going to describe these last few weeks, and I used it a lot in the first 3 weeks, so hopefully it's not too annoying. And that's why, because it really is about getting in all the training I can. If I can do more, I'm trying to do more. So there you go, I'll take you through the next few weeks. So again, hopefully you can see what's going into this, and again, everything's up there, so by all means pause it. My Strava is freely available, go have a look, and if interested, you can see what I've been doing. So see you soon. Just to say, if you are getting something from these videos, please do hit like, subscribe. If you want something doing differently, please do tell me in the comments. There's nothing in this for me. I've not got a Patreon, I've not anything to sell, I've not got an OnlyFans. It's just doing these for a bit of fun. So it'd be interesting to see what people are looking for and hopefully add something of value. So week 4 of training. So we've had the first 3, that's in the previous video. I'll try and link up to that above. And as I said, you know, tiredness was kind of the theme. So coming into this week, it's ended up being an 80-mile week. So this is my 4th week of training of a 12-week block. Feeling tired. Tired is the word, right? So on the Tuesday, first session, I'll put the stats up for it. First session was 3 sets of 3 by 3 minutes. And the ideal pace for this is kind of meant to be, I think it's about sort of like 10k half marathon pace. 5:20 is what I'd been set. Did I manage it? Not really. I think on 2 or maybe 3, I've highlighted it on them. I hit the paces towards the end, kind of felt rubbish going into it. It felt quite good towards the end, and I managed to hold it. 5:20 just felt so fast for 3 minutes at a time, so just short of a kilometre. Made it through, so a bunch of other runs through the week. And then on the Thursday was the 10k race that I'd kind of mentioned. So what did I wear for that one? Alpha Fly Y, because it's perfectly flat and decent surface all the way around, so it kind of feel like this really helps compared to anything else. My favourite shoe for that, so I kind of went into this sort of 10k not really knowing what to expect. I kind of wanted a PB, but no, that's a big ask given that my PB was on perfect surface, perfect this, perfect that. What happened? Super rainy. I've got a few photos from the day I'll try and put up, and yeah, mega rainy. So we're on the start line, there's a lot of us there. Off the gun goes, and there's a group. We're kind of pushing it at the start a little bit. Myself, there's a guy that's clearly a lot better than I am. His PB is just over 30 minutes, and a few others that are definitely around me. So kind of we're going into the wind, and well, with wind behind us actually start with. It's all going okay, and then it gets to the turn, and there's still a group, and you kind of wearing that. Well, there's only a couple of prizes here. There's a winner's prize. I think there's a second place prize as well. There's not a lot, so I want the time, but I'm also mindful of position. So we stay on it, and then after about 2-3 kilometres, then there's a little uphill section. I realised that there's someone that's with us, so we've kind of slowly, by keeping the sort of hammer down, myself and the lad at the front, we kind of shared it into the wind. Fine, works brilliant for me, it's kind of what I'm after. And then there's someone else that's been sort of drafting along. I think he's just kind of stick with us because it's the pace that he wants, but at the same time, you're not helping me do the work. And I know that if I'm giving everything I can later on and you feel good, you're going to come past me. So on the uphill, I just thought, you know what? Don't slow for the uphill. Keep the pace going. You want the time anyway. If that then drops me off the back, that's great. And if it doesn't, well, okay, maybe I'll start sharing the work. So I just kind of kept the pace going up the hill. 5:10, I think it was, 5:15 a mile, whatever it would be. And he just went straight off the back. And so it's just me and another lad for about 1.5 kilometres. And then about 4.5k, he just sort of looked at his watch, picked up the pace by 10 seconds a mile, gone. It's just like, I can't do anything about this. It's just, I just see him going. So I'm trying to sort of keep following him, but it isn't happening. I see the 5k marker coming up, so I lapped my watch at that point. My watch I have set up to just sort of show me of each lap what time, distance, pace, etc. So I just quickly lapped it at 5k. I don't have it auto-lapping. And it said 16:02. It's like, hang on a minute, you're on for 32 minutes here. Let's keep on going. So keep on cranking, keep on doing what you've been doing. So I kept going, trying to pull the guy back in front, but he's just slowly disappearing up the road. Not that quickly disappearing, but consistently moving away from me. I can only do what I can do. I know there's people behind me, so I just gave it everything I got, knowing that actually, you know what, if you do a 16:20, having done a 16:02, you're going to get a PB. So kept on going, kept on pushing, got into the wind in the last little bit because it's a lap of Home Pierpont National Water Sports Centre, so it's a big boating lake, and it means if the wind's coming in one direction, it goes straight down the lake into your face. Behind you the same, but it's kind of the last mile into your face. So I got to 9, lapped it again, just gave it everything I got to try and get to the end in a reasonable time. 32:50. It meant I've hemorrhaged loads of time on the second half, but ultimately it's the second best 10k I've ever done. I went to the Leeds Abbey Dash, which ended up being short, ran 9.973k, and it was short. So I didn't get a time, and it was 32:53 anyway. So on a perfect day, in perfect conditions, in a perfect race, on a short course, I did 32:53. I've just beaten that by 3 seconds, running 2/3 of the race on my own. And what can you say to that? You've got to be happy, right? So it's not a PB, yeah, but actually it's sub 33 in a race that isn't ideally set up for it. Brilliant, let's go with that. So when I got home, I actually looked at, well, how much did I slow? It turns out if you sort of, I've kind of thrown the numbers up around somewhere on the screen, I didn't slow down at all. The 5k marker was in the wrong place. I was basically perfectly consistent through what was perhaps my most consistent 10k ever, so never mind, eh? And then off that, onto the Sunday when it was a long run. And how long of a run was it? It was a long, long run. The way we got to 80 miles, this was a 24-mile day. So it was the Olympic marathon on the Friday night for the women. Awesome. Molly Seidel gave me goosebumps just watching her just go for it and just hang it on there and pile it on, do everything she could. Delighted she got a medal. It was amazing. Really so chuffed for her. So that was fantastic. And led through. So the Sunday, well, okay, Kipchoge's running, others are running. I want to know what happens. But the kids want to do a junior park run. So I did part of my run, met the family at the park, took the kids around junior park run, and then brought them home. And then did the rest of my run, so another 13, 14 miles on the treadmill. So I got the tablet up, just watching the Olympic marathon with the NBC coverage, much better, or Eurosport coverage, much better than the BBC's. BBC's fairly terrible. Watching along, 24 miles, didn't feel hard, wasn't going too fast, but it was all right. So in the end, that left me tired at the end of the day, but I did it. So I got through a session that was awful, and I probably averaged about 5:21 a mile compared to having run about 5:20 a mile for a continuous 10k. It's amazing what difference a race makes. So that was my week for week 4. Okay, so now we've done week 4, we're in week 5. What happened here? It wasn't a brilliant week. I really struggled through a lot of it. So I did a run on the Monday, wasn't particularly good. I went to do a second run, but just kind of work was busy as well. So having a hectic week of work ahead of going on holiday. You know, my job, it's not a runner. I'm not a pro runner. This is something I do for fun and I enjoy doing, but at the same time, it has to come behind the work. So I did the work and that meant that I was just whacked. So that's taken up all my nervous energy, all my attention's on that, and I wanted to do maybe a turbo training in the evening, but I'd got a report to write. Well, the report needs writing, get it done. So on the Tuesday, I had a medium long run. It's meant to be a sort of easier week, having had a big week in the 24. I did it. It was pretty terrible, so I'll put the numbers up, but it's nothing special. Again, meant to do a second run on that day, like just a simple 3-4 miles. That didn't happen. Okay, next one, on to the Tuesday, again, Wednesday, sorry. 8-mile run, not great, but actually, let's do the weights afterwards, get ready for what's meant to be my long run. So we're going on a holiday, so before we go, getting in a big session. So this was meant to be a long run, doing 12, 10, 8, 6 at marathon pace. Did not feel good setting off, and then hit the go button to hit for that 12 minutes. Within like 10 seconds, I knew it was not going to be my day. So I'll put the splits up, obviously, like everything else, somewhere around, or some stats, and it just didn't happen. So I was over 6 minute miling. It's like 30 seconds off of where I want to be. Like 5:38 is kind of what I'm after, really. Keep it under 2:30. So it needs to be 5:40 and below. The 8 minutes was not. So I kind of just adjusted it a little bit to where I know there were some sort of Strava segments to try and get me going. I did manage to hit it on a couple of them, and by the end I just sort of wrote it off and was like, well, I'm not going to be able to do all these. So what I'll do is I'll try and do 2 lots of a mile at marathon pace. Forget a float recovery in between. I'm just going to jog, whatever I've got to do. The quality is what matters. Yeah, I tried to do the long run kind of session all in the one. So, even aiming for Strava segments just to try and give myself something to aim for. That, you don't have to do this many minutes at this pace. Just try and get this far from here to here. That's about the right amount of time. Still didn't do it. So I've just tried to get whatever I could in by throwing in a few mile efforts at the end at marathon pace. So I'll put something up. And I managed it for 2 miles, but I was walking on the way home. It was that bad. It was meant to be kind of 15, 16 miles and with a lot of quality. And there's some quality, but for the most part, it just fell apart. So went away, did a run the morning before we went away. Did the park run on the Saturday at Dalby Forest, I think it's called. So lovely place, did go out with the kids. Park run in the morning. I just couldn't get going again. Sort of, it's steady downhill, and I'm kind of looking at my watch. It's like 5:55s. It's like not being funny, but I want to be doing a lot faster than this for a lot longer than this. And I just kind of got gapped about a mile in with someone putting in a 6 minute mile, and it's just sort of like, what's going on? So I came up at 17:40. I think that's but short, or that's kind of all on the Garmin. Might be right. Doesn't really matter either way. It's a long way from where I'd want to be, but just kind of take it on the chin, move on. It was a hard effort, that was that. So I did, while I was away, so it takes me through to the end of the week, and the pattern will hold into next week as well, but just I'm away, try and just keep the habit going. If I stop running, it gets very hard to get back into running because you just don't make the time for it. So going out once, twice a day, mainly twice a day, and running. So it doesn't really matter how far, how fast. I did a lot of fartleks, so really just, I've turned onto a road, I'm going to run hard till the end of the road. Sometimes the roads were a lot longer than you thought, so one ended up being about 2 miles, a bit much, kind of about 1.5 miles. I just sort of sacked it off, but for the most part, just turn onto a road, run fast, see what you can do. And that was really what kind of takes me through that week 5. So not a great week in terms of training. I did what I could, and that's all you can do, but the clock doesn't care about how you feel. You kind of need to be getting that training, and if you feel crappy, that's just too bad. You've got to find a way to get through that. And this week I put in the training, but I didn't really get the results or efforts I was looking for. What can you do? So now we're into week 6. So this is that kind of final block in this video, and still on holiday. So I kind of did Friday to Friday, rented a cottage, and I've come through the weekend not feeling great. So I just tried to keep that habit up of running. So get out twice a day. I did that kind of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Nothing special, so Monday, Tuesday I did that, and then Wednesday is meant to be another big session. So it's meant to be 3k, 2k, 1k, 3 lots of that. Not a easy session by any means. Brutal, and the paces that were down were really hard, and kind of we'd already got planned a trip to the seaside, so I'm trying to get my running. How on earth can I get my running when we've got the seaside day with the kids? So what did I do? I got my wife to chuck me out the car on the way home. So we got to the Scarborough sign, going from Scarborough, staying in Pickering, threw me out the car, and I ran back the sort of 14, 15 miles. Turns out there was a headwind the whole way. Great. Turns out the paths kind of ran out after a couple of miles, so I'm kind of jogging along until I'm on a grass verge. Not brilliant on a road that's quite busy, so I kind of did efforts. And rather than doing 3K, 2K, 1K times 3, I did my best. I did 2 sets rather than 3, and I did it as kind of 10 minutes, 7 minutes, 3 minutes. None of the paces were even close to what they should have been. Really feeling quite rotten, beaten down at this point, because it's just been kind of week and a half, 2 weeks where nothing's really gone very well. So really struggled with that one. I got it done, so at least it got the miles in, and then took the next day as my first rest day, I think, of this cycle. I don't think I've had one while I've done these videos. So it's been quite a while since I had a day off, and I thought, you know what, it's not going to harm. I had got the race coming up, so 5,000 metres I'd alluded to. That was coming up on the Saturday. So, you know what, take the Thursday off, and then Friday you can go out and go for a run. So Friday, pack up, come home, went for a run when I got back with someone. That was nice. Just getting out there, steady run. And then Saturday, race day. So the race was in the evening, and it was meant to be at 5:40, I think, or 5:50, which kind of clashes with kids' bedtime pretty severely. So I messaged them and said, look, I can't make my race, the sub 15:30 target race. Could you put me in the sort of other credible race that you've got around where I'm looking for that sort of time? So I got entered into the sub 14:50 race. So in the morning, went out to the park run, just kind of pushed the first lap with the buggy, with the daughter in it, my son ran with me. Second lap, I just sort of did my own thing, basically doing drills on a lap, then went for kind of a little cool down. So I've done sort of 4 miles in the morning, just as that leg loosener. Feeling really relaxed about it. The most relaxed I've felt about a race in so long. Why? Because there's no pressure. I'm in a sub 14:50 race, and my PB is 14:50. Yeah, and my PB is 15:40. So it's nearly a minute. If I don't get lapped, it's quite a good result. I'm going in there with no expectation of having to win, no expectations of having to perform or stay with the group. Try not get lapped. Do as well as you can. What will be, will be. Yeah, I just kind of felt pretty chill about it, which is really unusual. So heading to the race with the kids as well, so it's had to come support. That was actually quite nice. And normally I'd have kind of like a hard dance music on, but I thought, well, you know what, let's put some music on. But the kids are in the car, like, we want some bit of enthusiasm, so I put on the Trolls soundtrack because they love Trolls. So there we are, listening to is it Ariana Grande and like Justin Timberlake. The kids are going wild in the back, really uplifting. So it's like, okay, cool. Weather's miserable, sort of saw a few of the races warming up, but I didn't care. You know what, I'm going to go out again, no expectations. Quite daunting seeing the people in your race. They look good. They look sharp as they're warming up, and they know what they're doing. I think everyone's wearing fancy spikes. There's people, someone's in an Ireland kit. They are proper good runners, and like really impressive looking. Like the form looked great. So it's like, okay, set off, and the gun went. What can you do? Just try and go with it. Hang on, hold on for dear life, and just see what happens. So the gun went, and I was obviously at the back before too long, and I just tried to stay in touch. So after maybe 3-4 laps, a couple of them starting to kind of yo-yo a bit, which is not what you want to see, because that tends to be a break and then they're off the back. So I did what I didn't want to do in this race and kind of overtook people to just try and stay with that main group. After about 5 laps, I think I missed the move. There was the group kind of split and someone kind of fell off it, and I was attached to this one. I should have at that point put in some effort if I'd noticed and been able to, which realistically could I? Probably not. I've been kind of going all out at 15-minute pace here. Tried to bridge and tried to stay on for a bit longer, so it ended up about 2,600 metres, maybe 2,700 metres. I'm suddenly noticing that the gap formed. We get to 3K, go through 3K, I think about 9:05. So 9:05 is like 15:09 pace. That's probably on 15-minute pace until a bit before. So you've got about half the race to go. You're on your own. It's drizzly, windy and rainy. But there's someone in front, the guy that had kind of fallen off as well, just keep your eyes on him and try not to let that gap grow. And it was growing, but I just did my best to kind of stay on the track. I know there's a couple of people, I took past someone else, there's someone else behind me. Again, I'll put whatever I can find. I think there's even a bit of video I can stick up. But just trying to do what I can to stay with them. Maybe you can close the gap to the kind of lead pack, like who was I kidding? But just do what you can and sort of bring it home. You're doing well, you've got a mile to go, and you're just kind of counting down the laps, 4 to go, 3 to go. My heart rate's, going through the roof. I know this, it's going through the roof. It redlined pretty early on and stayed there. There's nothing more you can do, just keep on going. My form's kind of fading a bit. I have slowed, I know this, but just keep on going. You notice that, this is going to be a PB if you can keep on going. Definitely not a sure thing, but yeah, I went through the line and just really pushing all the way. Did manage to dip 15:30, so absolutely delighted. 15:29 has me looking down at 15 rather than up at 16. it's a legitimate PB, so that's a 10-12 second PB, 15:42 before. So we're talking a chunk. It might not seem like a lot, but actually put it onto the track, that's a second a lap. That's substantial. So absolutely over the moon with it. I was kind of clipping my heels, like hugging everyone at the end, or fist bumping, whatever they wanted. I was, the kids and wife were sort of cheering on along. They sort of curious, and then came home and got crunk with a bottle of champagne. Went to KFC, got a load of chicken. So celebrating in style with takeaway, wine. I think I've got a picture I can put up as well. So that's WhatsApped it to my friends. So there you are. Kind of that's how you celebrate like a king, right? Is the things that you want. If you're royalty, what do royalty have? I imagine it's champagne and chicken. I think that's how they roll. So really absolutely chuffed to bits, because that is a PB in a marathon build-up where I had eased off for it, but I hadn't exactly tapered for it. So I'd done everything I could to go fast, and I went fast. And that's nice. That's just like a really satisfying feeling that there is something there. Having felt so rotten for such a couple of weeks, it all came together at that. So there is that chance of, well, okay, we've got a couple more races. I've got the Wilton 10K coming up in 2 weeks, so that will be my next video, as well as the Great North Run. So that will be in there too. So I've got these kind of big things coming up, and then the marathon. But worst case, I've put in this training and I've got something out of it. It takes the pressure off as far as I see it, because I don't have to go to London and do something to justify this level of knackeredness and effort that I'm putting in, because I'm coming away with a PB. I've got a 5K PB. So even if I go to London and blow and I end up coming home in 3:15, well, you know what? Around 15:29, can't be too upset with that. And that's really cool. I think that for me is a big benefit of these build-up races. You get to have something tangible. You've got a couple of bites at the cherry, so you always get something, even if the marathon is a cruel mistress. Again, Bronk has written a great piece, The Marathon Doesn't Owe You Anything, and he's right. It can so easily go wrong, and it's nice when you have something to kind of fall back on, even if the big day itself doesn't work out, because a marathon isn't just the day. This is all about the experience and the process that you go through. So there you go. There's 3 more weeks. So I think hopefully you can see from this, the marathon is not just the day. I'm talking about the training here for London, but it's not just about that one day in London. This is so much more. If you're doing it right, a marathon it's the build-up, it's the anticipation. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. They've released some changes that look mostly okay, like wave starts. They've also kind of announced like a bag drop that sounds a kit drop that sounds absolutely awful, but this is about the experience, the training. This is all of it together. So I'm excited about it all. You can see kind of what's going into it, and this is really trying to do everything I can. So you've got 3 more weeks just there. You're kind of in that. It's really been a grind. It's just been keeping on banging away for a couple of weeks, but actually with a couple of good results. A really, really solid and encouraging 10K and a fantastic 5,000. But most days, just feeling like trash. To go back to Brendan Foster, tired. And that's just the way it's going to be. So yeah, it's really just trying to enjoy this process as best I can, kind of build it up, see where we get to on the day. But having had those good results along the way, it does make it a little bit easier. So I'll try a video in 3 weeks' time. So what we're going to have is a week of training. So we've got a few days down from what we've had, but just keeping on banging out the miles. Then it's going to be hitting the Wilton 10K. Okay, that's going to be a fast race. Can I get the PB there? We'll see about it. I'll try, and it doesn't even matter if it's not a PB necessarily, as long as it's a good performance. And after that, the week after the Great North Run. So that will probably be the end of the next video, and let's see what happens there. So thanks for joining me along the way.